Hello and welcome. I'm Ijoma Honyato. Tonight, fresh violence erupts in Kaduna State. 37 people killed in Kajuru local government area. People's Democratic Party set to relaunch itself, fixes August the 12th for its non-elective national convention. All Progressives Congress members take to the streets in Lagos in protest ahead of Saturday's council election in the state. And confusion in Congress as US President Donald Trump calls for a repeal of Obamacare without replacement.
And on business news tonight, investment banker says Nigeria's current debt level is not sustainable in view of the country's slow economic growth.
On sports news tonight, police arrest the president of the Spanish Football Federation, Angel Maria Villa, and his son over corruption charges.
Tragedy has again struck in Kaduna State as 37 people have been reported killed in Kajuru local government area of the state barely 3 days after 4 herdsmen were said to have been killed by gunmen in the same place. An eyewitness account has it that the crisis started when some Fulani youths stormed Ungwankwa village to avenge the killing of certain herdsmen, allegedly by some village youths at a farm in the area. The Commissioner of Police in the state confirmed the incident, while the spokesman to the state governor also told Channels Television that security forces have been deployed to the troubled area.
The situation has been contained. Security agencies have been deployed to the area, and there is no cause for alarm. I will equally use this opportunity to appeal to both parties to cooperate with security agencies and Kaduna State government towards ensuring final resolution of the misunderstanding that occurred in Kajuru local government area. I will equally reiterate the position of Kaduna State government. Government will continue to work very hard in ensuring that there is protection of life and property across the state.
To politics now, Nigeria's main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, appears resolved to redefine the nation's political landscape and has fixed August the 12th, 2017 for its non-elective national convention. This is part of the outcome of a meeting of the party's Board of Trustees in the nation's capital today as part of its move to relaunch the party. At a press conference after a series of meetings by the various organs of the party spokesperson stated that the convention will address some constitutional issues ahead of the national convention to elect principal officers on a date to be announced later.
NEC took a decision today that in view of all circumstances, NEC invoking the powers conferred on it under Section 31, 2, subsection A, today decided to convene a special non-elective national convention on August 12, 2017 in Abuja. NEC declared and affirmed the leadership of the party in the 2 states of Jigawa and Benue that emerged after the April-May 2016 congresses. That's the first part of that resolution. The second part of the resolution was all states, technical committees and state parallel executives set up after court of appeal judgment of February 17, 2017 at Port Harcourt to be reversed, and those validly elected are to be returned to office forthwith.
And still on party politics, the ruling All Progressives Congress in Lagos State appears to have an axe to grind with the party's national legal advisor, Muiz Banire. Today, members converged on the party's state office bearing placards as one of their leaders read out a petition seeking the removal of Mr. Banire, who had criticized the conduct of the local council election primaries on May the 27th. A group loyal to Mr. Banire had staged their own protests, accusing the leadership of the party of imposition of candidates.
Don't get it twisted. It may be the week of the Lagos Council elections, but this is definitely not an election campaign. Early Tuesday morning, they besieged the APC office in Lagos, and on their lips is a clamor for the removal of the party's national legal advisor, Mr. Muiz Banere. The APC primaries of the 27th of May 2017, which turned violent, is still affecting the party, with series of court cases hanging over the conduct of the primaries. Mr. Banere is believed to be the leader of some of the aggrieved members of the party. From the APC state office, the protesters moved to the governor's office, where they said they plan to submit a petition seeking Mr. Banere's expulsion.
We wish to respectfully ask for the removal as national legal advisors of the party and his expulsion based on his established anti-party activities.
As the anti-Muiz Banere protests go on, in other parts of town, it may be yet another protest. But this one is against the leadership of the APC in the state. It is 4 days to the election, and the party says it plans to reconduct primaries in Mushin area, as the House of Assembly also is said to be amending the Last Year Act, the law which guides the operations of election in Lagos. And this group has frowned at what they say is the imposition of candidates for the Saturday polls. They even claim they were assaulted.
For someone to be the National Legal Party, I know the law. I will be involved in anti-party issue. I was not informed that any primary is going to come up today. I was denied entrance, denied access there, which is unfair. To my surprise, I was attacked. One of my ESCO was attacked. Is even the chairman of one of the ESCO, Demola.
On several fronts, the APC in Lagos is confronted with series of controversies. In about 4 days, the people of the state will go to the polls, but the fear is to what effect will the legal tussles and the crises have on the exercise. Sheun Akimaloe, reporting for Channels Television News.
Efforts by the federal government regarding the ease of doing business in Nigeria appear to have suffered a setback as the workers of the Corporate Affairs Commission have embarked on an industrial action. As a result, business activities have been paralyzed at the headquarters of the agency following the strike. The workers are said to be protesting the non-payment of allowances and poor welfare, grievances which they inscribed on placards and pasted on the fence of the CAC building. Meanwhile, the Center for Anti-Corruption and Open Leadership, CACOL, has asked the federal government to wade into the matter. The group in a statement points out that the action would impede the implementation of the acting president Yemi Osinbajo's executive order on the ease of doing business in Nigeria. It calls on the acting president to take keen interest in the crisis and visit the CAC to assess the real situation. Well, Nigeria must learn to save from its oil revenue, and this is coming from the Nigeria Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative. The Executive Secretary of NAITI, Mr. Waziri Aido, said all of the country's current savings from oil cannot fund 20% of the 2017 budget. He called on the federal government to consolidate all oil trust funds into the Nigeria Sovereign Wealth Fund to yield return on investment.
The savings that we have are too small, and they defeat the rationale for having such savings in the first instance. Nigeria did not make enough savings. Nigeria at the present does not have enough savings to finance even 1/5 of this year's budget at the federal level. Not to talk of putting something, for future generation or for investment. We're also very ill prepared for the day where we're going to run out of oil. By the way, we're going to run out of oil in 38 years. That is not the only thing that should bother us. Oil might not be as valuable as it is now. Imagine we had $50 billion in ECA in 2015, or $150 billion. We won't be where we are today. And it's doable. It's possible. We need to move as a country. We need to move from this unhelpful attitude of spend it all, or save and spend, to a real savings culture. Otherwise, we'll continue to be vulnerable to the volatility of the oil prices and the eventual depletion of our resources.
Now, one person has been severely injured in a gas explosion at the School of Nursing and Midwifery in Makurdi, Benue State. The victim, who is a student of the school, was said to have been cooking in the hostel when the explosion occurred, leaving her severely burned. The Benue State Deputy Governor, Benson Abonu, who assessed the incident, has directed the school management to stop students from cooking within the hostel.
The School of Nursing and Midwifery, Makurdi in Benue State. This is the scene of the gas explosion where one student was severely burned. Squeezed ceiling boards, burnt books and mattresses litter the floor. The Deputy Governor, Benson Abonu, is visiting the institution to see the level of damage. The students of the institution are still in shock. The principal gives an update on the condition of the victims.
So that's the level of burns. Her head up to the umbilical region and then one of the legs. So the whole of the upper extremity is burnt. She was wearing a woman, so the woman got burnt. In the hospital, we had to remove it.
But how did this happen?
Around 1:35 p.m. after school in the afternoon, we were in the hostel when we heard a sound of an explosion from a gas cooker from which our mate, Stella Mekia, was using to cook. So the fire engulfed her. We ran out of the hostel. We called our hostel mistress, who informed the brigadiers. They put the light off.
The Deputy Governor is promising to foot the hospital bill of the victim, but is insisting that no student should cook in the hostels.
What we have seen today is totally unacceptable, where a student had to cook inside where she sleeps. It's totally unacceptable because of the emergency situation and the urgency with which a burn patient needs to be treated. I therefore ask that some amount of money be given to her from my own pocket.
The state government insists that cooking will not be allowed in the hostels to forestall a recurrence.
The federal government says it's setting up a panel to investigate the cause of the fire that killed 10 people at the Calabar Free Trade Zone in Cross River State. The managing director of the Nigeria Export Processing Zone Authority, Honorable Emmanuel Jime, who visited the scene, explained that illegalities going on at the tank farm may be responsible for the incident.